Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I am Matt. Hope you're all doing well. Today, we are going to check out the Golden Ratio kit from One Vape. If you remember One Vape, they put out the Lambo pod last year. I think there's a Lambo V2 as well. So let's go ahead and dive into it. This is what your packaging is going to look like. So inside you will have your device, 2 coil heads, a user manual, a USB cable, and a warranty card. So this thing has an 1100 milliamp hour battery, and it actually feels pretty heavy for this kind of device. It feels solid. You got, I think that's aluminum, then a zinc alloy frame, then there's some resin there on the end, nice little color accent. You got a button right there, says one right there, one right there, and venting on the bottom. Golden Ratio on that side. I like the finish they did on this too, kind of a matte finish on this aluminum. So you got this little lever right here. You pull down on that and pull up on your pod. All right, there's what your pod looks like, 2 mLs. And now I'm calling it a pod, but technically it's a tank, I guess, because there's no pre-built coil inside. You swap coils in and out of this thing, which go in right there. And there's what your mouthpiece looks like. You do have adjustable airflow on the side right there as well. So the first coil you get is this 0.6 ohm, max 27 watts, and I believe this is a mesh. This one's more of a restricted long hit type of vape. I have this one in my other kit already. Airflow gets in from the side. Remember that airflow control comes in from the side? So air comes in from the side, and you have 2 holes right there. Now the other coil is this 1.2 ohm, max 14 watts, and this one's more of an MTL coil, smaller diameter hole inside. So when you install these things, they're just press fit, but they're kind of snug at first. You got to basically twist at the same time, like so, okay? And then line it up like, there we go, like that. Now to fill this, you got a fill port right here. Pretty nice size port. Needle tip bottles work fine with this. And then you just fill it on up. Close it back up. And there's what the inside of the device looks like. You got your contacts down there. This little lever right here that locks the pod into place. So basically you want to pull down on that. Push this in. They're a pretty tight fit. And then let it release. And there we are. Not much of a gap down here, but you have a little bit of a step right there. I wish they would have flushed that out a little bit more. And then at this point, you can adjust your airflow with this little dial. So on this MTL coil, I'm going to go about halfway like so. Okay, so remember you got airflow feeding in from the side, which does mitigate any leaking issues or liquid getting inside underneath your pod there. To turn it on, 5 clicks. And that'll blink at you. No adjustable wattage on this thing, and it is just a direct output device. Now when you fire, you'll see that's blue right now. And if we look here at the directions, it says you get the blue LED above 3.5 volts. Under that, you're gonna get the red LED, and then under 3.3 volts, it'll flash at you, reminding you to charge. And also, it does say that this has a temperature curve mode. So while there's no regulated wattage or voltage in this, there is some TC functionality there to keep you from getting dry hits. As far as charging goes, it's a little bit over an hour. Not bad for an 1100 milliamp hour device. You can vape while charging as well. And when firing, I kind of hold it like this and thumb fire, or like this and pointer fire. Do kind of wish that the button was on the side here though, so you could just fire it like that. And here's the other one I've been using. This one is a rainbow with like a pinkish pattern resin on the side, and this one's more of a glossy finish. And as far as size comparisons go, there it is next to an Orion. Fairly close, but this one is a bit heavier. Thickness is about the same, but obviously this has more of that squared off mouthpiece, not the more traditional drip tip style mouthpiece. All right, guys, that is it for the up close. Let's go ahead, go up top, vape these, and talk about them a little more. All right, here's the Golden Ratio kit. Let's start out with the 0.6 ohm mesh coil. I have the airflow wide open, 6 milligram. Let's vape it. About medium warmth for that type of draw. It's a tight, restricted long hit. Flavor's really good on it, and the warmth is ample enough. I would wish that it was maybe a little bit warmer, but it's not bad. It's satisfying enough for me. It's not as cool of a vape as that Lyra mesh coil that I reviewed a couple days ago. All right, this one has the 1.2 ohm MTL coil in it. I closed the airflow down about 2/3 of the way, 12 milligram. Let's vape that. Actually quite like that coil head. Flavor is good on that as well. Let's go ahead and talk pros and cons. First off, really wish this did have like 3 wattage settings to compete with some of the other all-in-one systems that look like this. Kind of a bummer that it's just a direct output device. Second, the drip tip, it's not like horribly uncomfortable, but I do tend to like the rounder tips a little bit more, but that's kind of a preference thing. A lot of people like those more squared off tips, but in these types of applications, I do tend to like something that's got, you know, a little more of a rounder tip. Finally, I do wish that the button was on the side. You get used to it being on the face here, and you end up just kind of vaping it like this, pointer finger. Or thumb fire. But if you wanted to be stealthier, you know, and hold it like that, it would be easier if the button was on the side, like where that lever is. Okay, now as far as pros go, really like the way they implemented the adjustable airflow, how it's on the outside here. Also, because the airflow comes in from the side a little bit higher up and travels down and over into the coil, you're not gonna have as many leaking issues, condensation seeping out issues or anything like that. So I do really like that design. Also, big pro to me that I can swap coils in and out of the pod. I tend to like systems like this more than the systems where I have to, you know, put a whole new pod in. It's less waste to me and it just makes more sense. And, you know, with these types of systems, usually they offer more than one type of coil, so you get that variety as well. Build quality on it is good. I think it's nice looking. I'm not, you know, a huge fan of this rainbow one that's super shiny, but this black one's definitely my style. A little bit of color pop on the side there, and the rest of it is just, you know, pretty classy, kind of trendy looking. So really like the way this thing looks. It feels heavy duty as well. It's a little bit heavier than a lot of these systems, and that's because they're using a lot of metal in here. I mean, it's not so heavy that you feel it in your pocket or anything, but it feels solid. It feels built to last. So I definitely like that. And like I said, I get good flavor off of this, and it's a warm enough vape for me compared to some of the other pods out there that are a little bit underpowered. Especially when I close the airflow down on this thing, like I'm gonna close it down even a little bit more, get a nice tighter MTL draw. And yeah, I like that. One Vape is really seeming to make a name for themselves when it comes to their design, the way things look, and their build quality. The Lambo pod was really nice looking, and it was built really well. It felt more premium than a lot of other pods out there. As far as price goes, you're looking in that $30 to $40 range. Also, they're gonna have some other color combinations besides these two I showed you as well. Let's go ahead and end it there. Folks, that about wraps it up. Until next time, thanks for watching. Suck my mod.